Hey everyone, it's Tamara Carter and I'm on the live at 9. Last night I was supposed to come up and we couldn't do it. So came up tonight, and tonight we're talking about side chicks, right? So my co-host, Nisi Claire, she's gonna come up any minute now. We should have Nisi joining us. Let me see if I can get her on here. Let's see. I'm just inviting her now to see if she can just pop on up. So we're talking about side chicks and mental health of the side chicks, right? So should be a hot topic. Let's talk about it, right? Nisi, are you there, hun? All right. So she's there. I'm just going to invite her, add her on. She should be coming on any minute now. Connecting. Hey, girl.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Hold on. Let me take this out. Sometimes. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you. Yay!
Good.
Right.
How
so
are
we're
you?
talking about side chicks tonight.
Yes, girl, we are.
It's gonna be a hot topic, girl. It's gonna be.
This
hot.
is a trigger for a lot of people.
It's a trigger because nobody really wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to. Well, these days, because we said it, we talked about that earlier about, these days side chicking is like they talking all loud, right? Back in the day, it was something that was hidden. It was a secret. Now they got whole side chick songs. Did you see my TikTok?
No, yeah, I saw the song. Yeah, I saw yours.
Original side chick song, right?
Mm-hmm.
So nowadays, the side chicks are coming out and they're actually talking about their side chickiness, right? So, like, I don't know, you have some information on side chicks. Like, what I really, because, we hear so many stories of our sisters, our friends, our colleagues going through a relationship like this, right?
Right.
And I think one thing we wanted to touch on is side chicks are not hoes. They're not, this bad entity that people like to paint them as they are, to be, right?
That's right.
So most of the time, the side chick is just your regular girl. She works a regular job, and she's a normal human being.
That's right.
Right?
Well,
so I know you had information, yes.
So, well, I wanted to just touch on what you said. So there was this culture, I guess I would say, I don't know, maybe even 30 years ago plus.
Right. Because, we're not that old yet. We're only in our 20s, so we wouldn't know about it.
There was this vilification of the side chick or the mistress or the other woman, right? She was seen to be someone who's a home wrecker, someone who is a whore, someone who is undesirable, right? So she was painted as this undesirable woman that no man in their right mind would ever want to actually marry, right? That was the side chick. It was not a position that you wanted to be in. It was not a prestigious position. It was shameful. There was shame attached to being the other woman. And I'm finding now, 2020, we're living in an age where being the side chick is not necessarily a bad position as far as society. It's almost expected that there is going to be a side chick at some point in a committed relationship.
Right. And I mean, like I said, now they're singing songs. They got T-shirts. Women got side chick. There's a side chick Facebook group somebody was telling me about last week. Right. So, I mean, it's becoming more open. And, I mean, this generation, they talk about it like it's nothing. They're getting houses, they're getting cars. But what does that do to a woman mentally, right? Because we've got, we know side chicks. What do they say here? They say side chicks, they have impossible nights and intolerable weekends. So, they have to juggle around this one man's feelings, right? They might be, most of the time, they end up getting, or their emotions or whatever they have to do ends up getting tossed aside, right? because this man has to share his time between usually his wife and side chick. So the side chick usually might be getting maybe material things, but emotionally, how do you think that's affecting her?
So I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that's actually part of the reason why the side chick position is no longer seen as an undesirable position, because now you're seeing men are financially taking care of side chicks, right? There are perks. There are perks to being a side chick. I actually, and women are now more vocal about this position as well, right? So I used to work in a salon for years, and there were women that would come in and they would talk about the things that they get, the cars, you know, the funding my business, or the condo that he bought, right?
Shannon just joined us. Thank
Hello.
you, Shannon.
So there's now, it almost seems like their lines are blurred between the wife and the side chick. But you're right. Even though the lines are blurred, it's clear who the wife is and who the wife isn't, right? And there are certain things that women who are wives are afforded that side chicks will never be able to get or to have, right?
Right.
You will always, for the most part, be in the background. How does that make you feel as a side chick? Right. Do you feel like number two? Do you feel inadequate?
Is the material stuff, does the material stuff like override the feelings? Like, that's what I always want to know. Like, eventually, like we talked about, most side chicks, I think they get in there for the money, right? So you meet this guy and you're like, all right, I know he's married, and you get in there the money, and then you end up falling in love, right?
That's right.
So yeah. I think that happens, and then that's when all the emotional stuff comes, right? The, you know, the heartbreak and the lonely nights, and the, you know, he's probably with his family, you probably feeling some kind of way, but you know, you can't call him, like, right? So I think mentally, what is that doing to a woman? Like,
to a woman, yeah.
I know this, you know, this causes her to be like, I wrote down some stuff. This causes her to, you know, she doesn't trust anymore. So she gets resentful, right? So all of these negative things, right? And so what I wanted to really touch on is why married men cheat. So girl, there's a whole list of stuff. So pretty much men are cheating for just about anything, right? So it says men will cheat because of sudden death of parent or close friend, stress at work at home, a sick child, the wife can't have kids, no intimacy or support, health care, anger, boring sex life, alcohol or drug abuse. Like, to me, that's pretty much any and everything. So men are cheating just because.
Anything apart from a perfect life.
Right. So, I mean, are women cheating for the same reason, or are they becoming side chicks for the same, like, what is in the mind of a side chick? Is it a
I think it's interesting. One of the things that you said was boring sex. Now, I've spoken to men, right, about this. Men that I know that are married, men that I know that cheat. And I ask this question. So if the sex was boring, why'd you marry her? Well, the sex wasn't always boring, right? So now you have this two people who chemistry was great. Now they get into a marriage and now the sex is boring. What I think is interesting about that is usually women, we are turned on by the exterior things. We're not necessarily turning us on starts way before, it starts during the day.
Right.
It's not at night, right? So we want a man who's, supportive, helps around the house, takes initiative, etc., etc. But if you have a husband who's not doing that, you're going to be less likely to want to give it up, right? But then you have the side chick who doesn't have to deal with the husband who's not doing what he's supposed to do, who's not emotionally available. So of course the side chick can give you great sex because she is not lacking. There's no expectation of this stand-up man in this relationship. Whereas with a marriage, there's responsibilities that you have to fulfill as a husband and wife, of course. But when that's not happening, the dynamics between the man and the woman, his wife, it starts to decay.
Wow, that is like so true. But I mean, you see, you know, I'm always on the woman's side because I see it from a woman's point, because who else am I going to see it from? Sometimes the sex is born with them too, right? You don't see, well, maybe that's not true. Maybe women are going out and getting side men, right? Because, you know, like we were talking about that earlier. Yeah. Sometimes the sex is not great with them as well. But I think this is where a relationship really has to, you know, bond together and work things out. Does that give me or my husband permission to have people outside the marriage, right? Does that give us the authority to bring people in our marriage and hurt them? Because, I mean, as a side chick or a side man, right, I think those two people are getting hurt the most. Anybody who's on the side, right? Because what happens, you know, I read a whole bunch of stuff, and all of the articles say 9 times out of 10, the man does not leave his wife.
No, he does not.
Right?
He does not.
So that is a thing. Like, so a lot of these girls, I think, and with men, because I think men these days might even be side men. So you know,
I think that there is, we discussed this earlier about the manipulation, right? So right. How does you know, a woman who, you know, for majority of who she is, she's an intelligent woman. You know, we all have moments where, you know, we all play the fool, but for the most part, she's an intelligent woman. So how do you get an intelligent woman who now falls into a trap of being a side chick, right? And there's a lot of manipulation that goes on in the relationship between a man who's in a committed relationship and the side chick. And it is this idea or this dream that he's selling that eventually you will be the wife. Eventually, I'm going to leave her. So this is how you get a woman who is now months, sometimes even years into a relationship.
Wow.
Hello.
Yeah. So we talked about it. Like, most men who are cheating have narcissistic traits.
Absolutely. They're lying. They're lying on both ends. They're lying on both ends. They're manipulating. Gaslighting. That's right.
Right.
And they're painting, a lot of times they paint their wives to be this witch that he can't stand, and she's so terrible, right? And most of the time that's just untrue.
It's so far from the truth, right? So this is what I mean. The side chick is, I mean, both women are getting blamed for something that they're not, right? So he's coming telling you, oh, my wife is stressing me, or she's not supporting me, or she's not giving me good sex. And that's happening on the other end. If the wife does get to find out, oh, she's a home wrecking bitch, she's a hoe. So, you know, pretty much the man, as usual, is coming out on top, right?
And this leads me, I am so passionate about this point right here. We as women need to stop blaming the side chick. We need to stop that.
The man is getting the whole entire cake and some muffins on the side.
And most of the time, and I know it sounds brutal. It sounds brutal, but she doesn't owe you anything. No. The side chick does not owe you anything. She's not the one who committed to you. She's not the one who proposed to you, made promises to you, built a life with you. It is your husband or the man that you're in a relationship with that owes you that respect. Of course.
That's right.
A woman being in your relationship, knowing that there is a commitment there and a family there, yes, we all have our opinions about her. But at the end of the day, she doesn't owe you anything. So we need to stop blaming the other woman.
The other woman, right? Because, I mean, most of the times, take emotions out of it. The side chick is getting the better end of the stick. She doesn't have to cook. She doesn't have to clean. She doesn't have to do much, right?
No, because there has to be positive to being a side chick, right? There has to be.
Because I'm like, listen, I mean, a couple times I said side chick is getting the good end of the stick, if you ask me, right? So, I think it's really about this man who's a narcissist, who's basically playing these usually two good women, right?
That's
because
right.
we established the fact not all side chicks. I mean, we know a friend or we have somebody that we know that was a side chick, and she was probably like the sweetest girl, right? We also know a friend who's been cheated on, sweetest girl, right? So most of the time, this man is manipulating both of these women, right? And pitting
And the fact of the matter
is,
if it's anything significantly longer than just a one-night stand, she's probably a good woman in a lot of aspects, right? Because why would he be dedicating so much of his time with this woman, right? You don't usually wine and dine and spend significant amount of money and time with a woman who you have a one-night stand with, right? It's usually a woman who is also a professional, right? Who's also loving, who's also a good person. And I think a lot of wives don't really want to hear that. They don't want to humanize the side chick.
Right. Exactly. Because then if they humanize her, they can't manipulate. Because if the wife knows, okay, this woman is a woman just like me, she has feelings just like me, she's in love with this man just like me.
Just like me. Right.
Right? Then she starts to think, maybe this person is really a person or whatever or not, right? So I always say there's always two sides to a story. But again, the narcissist manipulator is telling, again, he's pitting the two women against each other, right? So this is what now, a lot of the articles that I read, they were like, you do not want to like contact the wife. Like, sometimes side chicks are contacting the wife. Like, should you do that? Like, I think not.
I am never on the side of protecting a cheater. So I think that, even though a lot of times I know the intention of the side chick is not an honorable intention, the intention is, if I can't have him, neither should you, or, dismantle this happy facade. But I'm all for a woman saying, listen, this is the man that you got. I'm down for that. What do you think? You don't think she should contact the wife and tell the wife,
girl? What
I have had
agrees, girl, where girls have said, well, the side chick got pregnant, and then she had to out the bed because now she needs child support. All right.
That's so rough.
All right. Like, these
rough.
stories, that's really bad, right? So, outing, just imagine you being a wife, sheriff comes to your door one day with support papers, right?
Listen, if there's any men watching, don't do that to your woman. Don't wait until your side chick shows up 6 months pregnant.
It is so, it's
That's
not
devastating.
Yeah, it's devastating. It's devastating for the wife. It's devastating for the family, because there's no way, I'm saying, you find that out as a wife, there's no way you can hide that. Everybody in the house is going to know that you have a side chick with a baby.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so men also have to think of the two women, like, especially the wife. Like, well, how are you doing this to your wife? How are you doing this to the mother of your children? And if you get to the point where you have to cheat, should you just not say something? Should you leave? Like, what are we really doing here? Why is side chicking becoming, songs and t-shirts and something that we're boasting about, right?
That's a good question. I think that I started noticing in the media that so when I started actually paying attention was when Scandal, I don't know if you've ever seen Scandal.
Girl, Scandal, Olivia Pope, girl.
I love Scandal. And
me too.
I realized that they were trying, I don't know if obviously we like Olivia, right? Everyone loves Olivia Pope, right? So we are already, as the audience, in a position where we like her, right? Yeah. And then I started finding myself wanting her to be with the president. And I had to say, wait, hold on.
I know, but you know what? I started having a different respect for the president's wife too. You
That's
know?
right.
Because I was like, why she don't do something? Why she don't say something? Right? So I started to see both sides because, you know, you saw the president's wife like really hurting, right? Then you seen Olivia going through all of this struggle too. So she was going back and forth to the president. She was going through all these different men because she was emotionally scarred, right? And even when she was with him, she finally got the man, and still it wasn't
okay. So let's talk about that, because Olivia, as we started to see her character develop, she has a commitment phobia. Right. And I think a lot of times women choose the side chick position because they don't really want to be in an actual relationship that requires work. And when the possibility of her being with the president actually became a reality, you started to see her pull back.
Wow.
So I think a lot of times it's a commitment thing.
Yeah, I think both people, if you're going to be in a, you know, a long-term affair, right? We're not talking about one night stands here. We're talking about if two people decide to be in a committed relationship, both, okay, one knows that they're married, then I think there's some level there where both of them kind of know what they're doing, right? So it's like, you know, the man knows, okay, there's something I'm not getting at home, or maybe he is getting everything at home, but still wanting to go out and be the side chick. You as the side chick know you're the side chick. You know what I mean? You know that you don't have to cook. You don't have to do all the wifely duties or listen to him really, you know, but emotionally, again, how is that? Because again, knowing somebody for 5, I know people that have been in side chick relationships for years, 6 years, 7 years. You're in this relationship with this man. There must be some feeling there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So what are you doing to yourself emotionally? Like, what walls have you put up there? You know, because now you're blocking yourself from feeling. You're blocking yourself from accepting love, because this is not really love. This is like crumbs of love, right? Or just sex, right? Because to me, if you're not in a relationship where you can call that person and that person can be there for you, then it's really not a relationship. It's just sex, right?
So, well, I think it depends. It depends on the man as well. There are some men who have schedules and careers that afford them that extra time, right?
Right.
So if you have a man that has hours that are crazy, he travels a lot, it's very easy to juggle a side chick and spend time with her and your wife.
Came up on the line. Hi, Mandy Singh.
Hi, Mandy.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it depends on the man. Some men have lives that it can afford them to have somebody on the side.
Yeah.
So who is Thea Rose?
Thea Rose, maybe that's somebody she's bringing in on the live, maybe.
Okay.
Right? So maybe Thea Rose need to hear this. Maybe Thea Rose, girl.
Was Thea Rose a side chick?
Right? So I mean, this story is so much, right?
Have you ever been a side chick?
Girl, I don't know. Not knowingly, because you know my mouth, girl. If I was a side chick, I didn't know. And if I did know, I would have been big mad and would have talked.
Right.
Right?
Oh, so you're the type of woman that will go to the wife.
I won't go to the wife, but I wouldn't put myself in that position for a long time, because I know what I require in a relationship. Right? So I would be one of those girls that even if he trying to side chick me without me knowing, I would find out. Right?
Okay.
Because I require a lot in a relationship from my man. Like, I want him to talk to me. When I call you, please answer your phone. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear an excuse. So I'm very like in my relationship. Yeah, I'm a little bit of a bully, right?
So how much time does he have to call you back before you start suspecting?
I give him an hour, like, because I mean, we all know how close we are to our phones these days, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the excuse that I left my phone or my phone was not charged, that doesn't fly with me. Because
So
I know about our
I've been
phones.
a side chick. I've been a side chick before.
Did you know that you were the side chick though?
No, I did not know.
See?
This was a long time ago. Long time ago.
Girl, when we were young too, it's different.
When I was young, and I was so naive and so dumb, right? So I did not know that I was a side chick. He was married, never wore his ring.
Wow. See?
And sorry?
I said, see, not wearing the ring, right?
No, he did not wear a ring. And the thing is especially for people who are just starting to date, the amount of time that he gave me was sufficient for two people that are starting to date, right?
Right.
But
so
I didn't think anything of it at first. But as time went on, things started to become a little weird. Like, there was a particular time during the evening that we would never talk, right? It was like around 6 o'clock, say 6 to 8:39. Say about that 3-hour window. And I was like, oh, God. I'm starting to see this pattern. Every single time we never talk during that time. Sundays were a no-no. Never a Sunday.
Never on a Sunday. Yeah.
And I never had his house number. So these things started to, right? So it wasn't until I was emotionally invested in this relationship that he told me that he's married.
Wow. Wow. And how long was that time span?
It was a few months.
Wow. So after that, did you continue the relationship?
Yes.
And so how did you feel, like knowing, okay, now he's married?
Yes.
Right? I'm emotionally invested.
Emotionally invested, but of course, I don't want to be with her. You know, we have
manipulation.
You know, the excuses, right? So this is the sell her a dream part of it now.
Yes.
I'm going to leave her for you. I mean, I didn't continue this relationship for much longer.
Right.
But I did still continue it. And it wasn't until that experience, because prior to that experience, oh, you couldn't tell me anything about a side chick, another woman. It was immediately, she's a whore. She's a whore, she's a homewrecker. But then being in that experience, I understood how a woman can stay.
Right.
Because of the significant manipulation that happens prior. And during.
Because they're telling you I'm leaving, they're telling you they're being abused, all kinds of stuff. Right? So you're feeling sorry for them. You're thinking, all right, let me give them some time to work it out. You know, I mean, I don't want to talk the business on the live, but I remember what. Anyways,
talk the business on the live.
He's not going to be on the Facebook, but I remember. So I'm working one day in the store because, you know, I'm also a hairstylist. So I have this salon in Ajax, and I see this woman walk through now, and she's like, hi, do you know so-and-so? So this be my uncle, right? So I'm like, yeah, that's my uncle. Girl, she went on to tell me that she'd been in a relationship with this man for 20 years. Okay? For 20 years, and that he said every single year that she was going to leave, or he was going to leave his wife.
Now, absolutely.
His wife is my auntie. I said, you mean my auntie who live in the big old house with the Jag and the Porsche, and he's not leaving her. And then I found myself getting mad at her. You know, because I was thinking to myself, how could you put yourself in this position for so long? You know, was where my anger was coming from. Now we have Ryan. Raiden said, if Solomon in all his wisdom could not handle all his women, then what makes most men, who definitely is no Solomon, think he can have a side chick? Talk, boy, talk. I don't know. You know, that. right? Solomon couldn't do it, and these men can't do it neither, right? Because most of the time they're getting caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're getting caught. They're, you know, and I just think the whole, if you, and there's another thing of open relationships. So now I'm hearing this generation talk about being in an open relationship.
I respect them. I respect a man or a woman who says, look, I can't do this. This is not for me. Let's just be open with who we are. I much rather that person.
I agree with you, because here's the thing though. When it's your turn to have the next man, they can't handle it, right? Because I say that in the beginning of all my relationships, like, let me know what's up, because you don't have to lie for me, because if you cheat now,
you don't have to lie to me.
You don't have to lie. We could be in an open relationship. It could be nice for everybody. But the thing about it is most men don't want to know about their women having another man, right? Even if it is the side chick. So I know side chicks that are faithful to the married man.
Oh.
Like, how is that?
This is a completely different, the psychology behind that.
Yes. You see,
how are you faithful to somebody who isn't even yours?
That's what I mean. So this is the cycle that we see a lot of, is that woman, even though she knows she's a side chick, she doesn't even have a man on the side. She just like the side chick. And she's okay with that. And that's where my anger comes from. Like I said, I got so angry at this lady. I said, listen, you have the nerve to come in here and tell me that you've been a side chick for 20 years and you got all this stuff to say, but you didn't protect yourself, right? You had, I mean, after year 5, you didn't think, let's just give you year 10, right? Let's give you 10 years of bliss. You didn't think after 10 years, after he didn't leave his wife, that was a sign, you know? So I just found myself
I
getting
I think there's willful ignorance as well.
Yeah, I think some of the women just, they get into this this mindset that he is going to leave. And I think and I'm talking about Black women especially, because, you know, we say Black women. I mean, all women go through this, but I think especially Black women get painted as we are these sex craves, angry women, when in reality, Black women are the total opposite. We're not the type of woman to go out there and have multiple men. So I found, especially in my mother's generation, the women just stayed, right?
Yeah.
They stayed and endured so much. And even if they were, like, I had an aunt who had a side man, and the man died and didn't leave her nothing in the will, and she almost killed herself because she was with him for how many years, and she thought he was gonna leave her something in the will because he promised her he was gonna leave her something, and he didn't leave her nothing. She almost killed herself. So I'm like, you know, you was with this married man for 25 years. You know, he put a little something on the side for you. Here he comes. Now he's dead, and your life is in shambles because you never cultivated any other relationship. So you lived your whole life as a side chick. To me, that's sad, right? And that's why we're seeing so many women in the community broken, mistrustful,
bitter,
resentful, bitter.
Very bitter.
Right? So it's about, like I said, this live was more about the emotional health of the woman, right?
Okay, and so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the emotional health. Oh, and just for, I like my stats. So
bring the stats, girl, bring the receipts.
Bring the receipts. 22% of Canadians seriously considered having an affair.
Considered.
Oh,
let's see what's up. Ryan again says, sometimes the woman may fall victim to the idea that if they show the men who they are, the side chick, how faithful they are, it will convince the man to leave his wife.
That's right.
For her, right? Because she's in this cycle full for guys too that are considerate the nice guy. Right. So, okay, basically, so what he's saying is the side woman tries to overcompensate because she thinks he's going to leave.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that would make sense.
If I just prove how good of a woman I am, right?
He'll leave his wife. Yeah.
If I do all the things that he says his wife isn't doing,
right,
he'll leave his wife. Right.
Right.
And I mean, there are some men that do leave, right? But they're in the minority. They're not. Most of the time, men are not going to do that.
Right. They're not leaving their wives to split everything down the middle or lose half of their life savings, right? And you know, if that man gets sick and you're in the hospital with him, or you go to the hospital. I had one lady tell me that her and she was a side chick, they got in an accident together. When she went to the hospital, because she was not the wife, she could not sign anything. So now she has to call the wife. Me and your man was in an accident. Right?
I have a question for Ryan.
Yes.
Ryan, have you ever had a side chick? If not, do you have any friends who have had side chicks?
Just eyes. Ryan, answer. If anybody had a side chick and is watching,
anybody who's watching,
we also want to know. We want to know the male perspective. Like, what's in a man's mind that has a side chick?
A side chick. That's right. We want to know. So why do men have side chicks? What's your intel, Ryan? Is there anybody else on the live who's watching?
Yeah. Ryan says,
Ryan
LOL.
Said he's not that good.
I am not that good.
I don't know, Ryan.
If there's any man that wants to come up and talk about, their side chick, we're not going to judge you. Okay.
No, absolutely not.
But
if there's a woman that's been a side chick or has been in a relationship with a man who's had a side chick,
say something.
Yeah, we want to know.
I want to, we kind of know from the women, but I really want to know what a man is thinking. Like, how is he juggling, especially in today's world? I could understand back in the day when things were 50 cents and you could have maybe 3 side chicks, but in this modern time where things cost money and is the money from your home being disturbed? Like, what we're finding is a lot of men,
that would piss me off the most.
What?
That would piss me off the most.
Well, yeah, because you're a wife, you got my husband. My money now is getting messed up because you got to share the money between the side chick and the wife and the kids, right? So this is what I think is the thing for me. Now my money is chopping down, and you got some little side chick, buying her cars and houses, right?
Yeah.
And so how is this affecting the family unit, right? And why are men doing this? Like, what I mean? You've got a wife, you've got kids at home. How is this affecting you? Like, how are you coming home now having to service 2 women, right? Because you got to think about that. The wife at home, she's going to want a little something too, right?
Okay, so Ryan commented. Okay, it says, I know that my dad was quite the leecher. He had several other women, and I suspect that he tried to overcompensate because he did not feel loved by his mother growing up. He wanted to marry my mother, but she shot him down because, okay. So he ended up with no one. Eventually, his dad ended up with no one. So there was an overcompensation because he did not feel loved by his mother. That is such an interesting point because a lot of the men... Sorry?
We brought it up and we talked about maybe the side chick having some emotional issues that she needed to work out. That's why she put herself in that position, right? But now we're hearing men that do that also have some type of psychological, cause for that.
And that's important. That is important because it is important for women to know that it is not their fault. There is nothing within you that is lacking why someone would cheat on you.
Right.
Men will cheat on the best woman God has ever put on the face of the earth. It's not about inadequacy, but it's so important to turn it back on its face to the person who is cheating. What is going on with them? Why they feel this need to have multiple women? What is it? What's that feeding them, or what do they think that's feeding them?
Yes.
Very good point.
And that, now we're getting to the real root of the problem, right? Mm-hmm. Usually the person that's deflecting some kind of issue on the persons that they love, right?
Right.
So usually it's not the side chick's fault. It's not the wife's fault. We don't want to say it, but usually it's the man's fault, right? You know, something inside of him is lacking. So he's looking for that in through sex, through, you know, through whatever. And in the meantime, not realizing how many people he's hurting in that in the same breath. So that is the thing. It's mental health, the issues that we go through. The side chick probably didn't have a dad. I don't know. It could be so many things, right? Why did you put yourself in this position of being a side chick for so long? For the man, it's why are you going outside of your marriage to find love when you can just, that's why we have therapy. That's why we have all these things, right? Oh, we lost her. Hopefully she comes back on. Right. So basically, I think that's what we really wanted to get to the meat of, Ryan. Thank you for bringing that point across, because that's exactly, sorry guys, that's exactly what we wanted to get. So let's see if I can bring back Nisi. Hold on. Okay, get her back on here again. Okay, she's invited already. Let's see. We lost her for a bit. But yeah, Ryan, that it was an extremely important issue that you brought up, right? Your dad missing that motherly love and having to find it, you know, going outside his marriage and eventually ending up with no one, right? So guys, it's been a blast. I'm hot. I'm getting like really like hot flashes. So I'm gonna cut it short, and you know, but we're gonna come up, Nisi. We said we're gonna do some more talks like this because it'd be nice if we could get some side chick stories, like real side chicks, right? You know, the emotional, how you got over it. What did you do to heal? Because if it didn't last, or you know, how did you take that after, you know, being emotionally blocked for so long? Because again, you're emotionally blocking yourself from love, from so many things when you decide to put yourself on the side, right? So yeah, you know, this was a good conversation. I appreciate everyone that came on tonight. Thank you guys for joining in. We're gonna have these talks every Sunday at 9. We didn't come on last night because Nisi couldn't come on, and then I was like doing so much research on this stuff because I was like, listen, there's a lot of information on being the side chick, so I had to get all that information ready for you guys so that we kind of know what we're talking about, right? But I think the basis of the live and what we were talking about, Ryan brought it out and shut the whole thing down, which is usually that person deflecting something that they're missing, so they go outside the marriage and they cause destruction, right? Because they're destroying themselves. So ladies, don't be side chicks, be wives. If you don't want to be a wife, just be yourself and love yourself, right? That's the best advice I can give women, is just to love yourself. Know that you are valuable and you're worth so much more than crumbs, right? So guys, again, thank you for joining in. Join me next Sunday at 9 on the live. Have a great evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.